Okay, so this video is all about how to get your dog to be the most amazing dog that it can possibly be based on what it was genetically designed to do. So if you see people walking down the street with these amazing dogs, the 5 tips that I'm about to give you are tips to actually help you cut straight to the chase and produce amazing dogs right from the outset, straight out of the box. Welcome to Canine IQ, Dog Obedience and Behavior Modification. This is the home of factual science-based dog training. I'm Claude Bertoni. Thank you for coming back. If you're a regular visitor to the YouTube site, thank you for your support. It's really appreciated. If you're a new visitor to the site, I hope you find it interesting. And if you do, remember, hit the subscribe button, but more importantly, hit the notification bell. That way you get to stay in touch with all the new posts and videos that I put up in the future. Point number 1, you need to start young. And what I mean by that is a lot of people get puppies at 8 weeks of age, and apart from taking them to puppy preschool, they do nothing with them. So the dogs effectively learn in the first 14 to 16 weeks to play. Now, there's nothing wrong with playing, but puppies need to understand from day one how to think and how to problem solve and how to show self-control and how to deal with stress and how to deal with pressure and how to understand that there's lots of different styles of learning and how to actually adapt to your life and your environment. So this is a segue from a previous video that I did that was all around lifestyle dog training. So what we need to do with starting a puppy young is to actually get the puppy to understand that life is all about learning, and it's all about structure, and it's all about learning self-control in the context of living with us day to day, but it's also about play and how play interacts and strengthens a relationship with us, and how lots of different rewards can actually help strengthen the behavior. So starting a puppy young doesn't mean by bombarding it with a lot of obedience training. In fact, overly doing obedience training with puppies has been proven to be ineffective going forward, and it produces puppy burnout. So the most important thing you should be doing in the first 14 to 16 weeks with your puppy is to work on the fundamentals or the personality traits that you want your puppy to have as an adult dog going forward. So one of the things that I try and get puppies to understand is they've got to be inquisitive. Inquisitive puppies are great. So we want them exploring. We want puppies to actually be confident in lots of different scenarios, which is really important. So we've got to take them to lots of different places and get them exposed to lots of different distractions, but more importantly, have a great association with those distractions. We've got to get the puppies to understand that there are lots of different ways to interact with human beings, which is an important thing. We've got to get the puppies to learn that all different environments that I'm in are a potential source of learning and actually how to develop structure and get benefit in different environments as opposed to being intimidated by them. And with puppies, the first 14 to 16 weeks is all about developing confidence and learning based on reassurance and getting really good associations with lots of different distractions going forward. So start the puppy training young, as early as you possibly can, is the best way to go forward. Point number 2 in dog training secrets is the 3 C's of dog training. Calm, clear, consistent. If you are not calm in your delivery, you are freaking out your dog. If you are not clear in your delivery, your dog will be confused. If you're not consistent in your delivery, your dog will make mistakes. Just imagine that you're trying to train somebody at work and they make a mistake and you get frustrated and you yell at them. They'll shut down. If you're not clear in your explanation and you give them a half-baked explanation of the task that you want them to do, I guarantee that they'll fail unless they're an unbelievably good employee that can actually problem solve and find the holes in your discussions, okay? And if you're not consistent and you brief them one way one day and the next day you brief them differently, they'll be confused and they won't know how to deal with you. Now, dogs are actually worse than that because they don't have the benefit of having a language with us. So whatever we teach them has to be taught in a really, really calm way. So the first thing that I try and get people to do is if you sense that you're starting to get frustrated with your puppy, stop training it. There is no point continuing down a path of frustration because it just gets it worse and the puppy doesn't understand, and then all of a sudden the relationship will fall over. So if you start to feel yourself getting a little bit uneasy and a little bit frustrated, stop the training, interrupt it, take the dog away, have a bit of a play, or just let the puppy have some time away on its own and then come back. Okay? Second part, be clear in your instructions. Make sure that the training methodology that you apply is structured. Have a plan. This is what I want to achieve. This is the starting point I want to get to here today. No further than that today. And if your puppy has given you some good levels of success, great. End it on that note and then pick up and say, right, now I want to take it to this level. And then you don't go past that point. So be clear in the instructions that you give your puppy and don't confuse the issue. The third of the C's is consistency. So the puppies need to understand how they work with you to get the results. Now, there's two modes of dog training. One is a constant schedule of reinforcement that the puppy knows. I do this, I get a reward. I do this, I get a reward. At some point, we need to shift them into what we call an intermittent schedule, which is, I've done that, and the reward that I got wasn't as good as doing it yesterday. And I have to try a bit harder. Now, intermittent schedules of reinforcement are outside of this discussion. So initially, what we want the dog or the puppy to do is to understand this is a constant schedule. I do this, I get that. Okay, and that consistency is really important because the puppy then knows what it's expected to do and it knows that it's going to get a reward for it. So the 3 C's: clear, calm, consistent. Point number 3 with the 5 dog training secrets is getting your puppy to understand that there are multiple reward structures. Now, really good dog trainers are not fixated by any one reward structure. So too many dog trainers end up having just one way of rewarding the dog because that's all that they understand and that's all that they teach their clients. And that's a problem because clients don't have the benefit of doing courses that talk about dog psychology. So they're relying on us, the dog trainers, to tell them what they need to know. And if the information that we give them is flawed because we don't know any more than what we know, we're not giving the clients the benefit of the collective knowledge of the dog training industry. You don't know what you don't know is a scary thing. So if all that we're doing is giving the dog one particular reward structure, we're selling ourselves short with the myriad of other reward structures that are out there. So let's just say you purely just use food as a reward. There are times that food's not appropriate. There are times that using a tennis ball is appropriate, or a tug of war is appropriate, or a pat is appropriate, or getting the dog access to a distraction is appropriate, or taking the dog away from a specific situation that was causing it stress is appropriate if the puppy has given you the right behavior to remove the pressure. So what we need to understand as dog trainers and handlers going forward is that we need to be flexible with our reward structure to make it specific to what we try to get the dogs to understand. And the rewards then become very, very specific to the task that we want the puppy to do. And then all of a sudden the dog starts to understand, wow, this is amazing stuff. Because when I do a certain behavior, not only do I get a reward, but the reward is appropriate to what it is that you're trying to get me to do. And that helps to strengthen the relationship. So that's a really important secret that a lot of good dog trainers won't tell you. Point number 4 in secrets that dog trainers don't usually tell you about dog training is actually training in line with the dog's genetics. And what I mean by that is all of us have a specific need or a specific lifestyle. And what we need to do is to pick a dog that actually complements that lifestyle to be able to then go forward and get the best out of that relationship. So picking the right dog for that specific situation is important. So if my grandmother came to me and said, Claude, I need a puppy, can you go out and get me one? And because I do a lot of work with service agencies and working dogs, if I go to one of the working dog breeders and say, can you just give me a dialed down version of a police or military dog? And I give that to my grandmother, I guarantee that after about probably 2 or 3 weeks, she'll be pulling her hair out, she'll be running around crazy because this dog will terrorize her completely. So that's the wrong dog for that application. Likewise, if I've got a family friend that's got very, very fit parents, fit kids, and all they want to do is run around and do really high energy, high intensity activities, whether it's at home or camping or sport, and they want me to help them find a dog, and I give them a dog that's effectively a couch potato dog. That's also the wrong kind of dog for that environment. So it's understanding that we need to pick the right dog for that environment, and then training the dog within its boundaries or within its genetic predisposition is the important part about it. There's no point getting a basset hound and try and get it to herd. That just doesn't work. So one of the secrets about owning dogs and training them appropriately is to blend the scenario. So we get this dog to fit this application, and then together we pair them and actually produce some good structure going forward. So the fourth secret of dog training is to actually train the dog in line with its instincts, but more important, pick the right dog for that right situation. Point number 5 that a lot of dog trainers don't tell you in terms of the secrets to having a really well-developed dog is to teach independence. Now, dogs are pack animals, so they are hardwired from day one to be around us. So they naturally are not independent. In fact, they're quite clingy and they're quite needy and they want to be around us most of the time. So what we need to do in the context of day-to-day dog training is to effectively fight nature. So every day that we spend training them to be independent is like pushing back the tide. Okay, if you don't do that, the tide's just going to come back and override you. So what we need to do on a day-to-day basis is to try and get the dog to be as confident and independent away from us in as many different scenarios as we possibly can. Because at the end of the day, what I want my dog to do is to miss me like crazy when I'm not around, but be comfortable enough to be able to deal with the fact that I'm not around and do destructive or stupid behavior to remove the pressure of being left alone. So once I've actually trained my dog to be independent and comfortable in its own skin, as soon as I turn up, its life is amazing because it's actually now been enhanced by my presence, as opposed to I've left and it's feeling that it's at a loss or it's actually feeling bad. Now this also relates back to a video that I've done in the past on resource guarding and how confidence and independence assist that particular situation. So one of the things that good dog trainers tend to do is to actually produce a dog that's incredibly flexible, incredibly independent, loves being with them as a trainer and as a handler, but is actually quite comfortable in its own skin being left alone. And this is really important when we deal with clients' dogs, that what I want my clients' dogs to do is exactly the same thing. I want them to love being in and around the family unit, but I also want these dogs to be really comfortable in their own skin, in their own right, just doing day-to-day stuff on their own. Really important. So now that you know the 5 main secrets that dog trainers use to produce amazing dogs, here's your opportunity to go practice it on yours. So how about you go do that over the next few days? And then what you can do is drop me a few comments and let me know how the training is going as a result, because I want to hear how it's progressing with you guys. Also, if you're one of these people that actually has one of these dogs that I talked about that everybody goes, that's an amazing dog, drop me a comment. Let me know how you trained it and what sort of training methodology you used to produce that result. And if you're one of these people that doesn't like what I have to say, which is quite common, and I respect your opinion, please drop me a comment and tell me what it is that you disagree with in my dog training theory and what I presented in this video. Because one of the things that I tell a lot of students when I lecture on dog trainers courses is there's no one way to train a dog that's correct. There's lots of different ways, and we as dog trainers need to share information and effectively cross-pollinate. We can't learn by training in a bubble. So comments from people that disagree with me is another way that I actually learn and strengthen my understanding of dog training knowledge. Hope you found the dog training video useful today, guys. Thank you very much for turning up to the site. Hope you enjoyed it. So did you like the content? If so, please hit the subscribe, like and share button, and don't forget to hit the bell button for future notifications of any new videos. Thanks for watching.